Hello again, welcome to the programme. Glad you could join us. Glad that David Hirst could join us, and Gary Megson. You've got an association and a connection going back some years in the city of Sheffield, but little connection with refereeing. This is the Ref Show, so we're going to do something a little bit different this morning, guys. Aren't we?
Oh, we'll talk about referees.
Yeah.
A lot more sense.
We can
actually talk about them now.
Yeah.
You can say what you like about them, and there isn't one here to slap you down.
To be fair, I'm sure throughout his careers we've refereed a couple of five-a-sides or something like that. Not very well.
You haven't.
No.
Right.
Fancy that job.
I'm as near to a refereeing expert as there is on this panel. I never thought I'd say that ever. Anyway, you guys, we'll talk about some of your former clubs. There's a strong football element to this show, as you might have guessed. Gary's former club not doing so well, West Bromwich Albion, and one of David's former teams, Southampton, are in the FA Cup semi-finals. We'll round up the action from that and the Premier League. Can we start with you, Gary? Another defeat for West Brom, 7th in a row, I think that is, 2-1 at Bournemouth. You were briefly in charge this season. Does this pain you? What's this almost inevitable relegation?
It does, and also probably it is inevitable now. But it wasn't inevitable, 3 or 4 games ago, and yet they were talking like that, and they're sending out all the signals. It's really, I think it's really poor, because every signal is right. Well, we're down, and we'll try and sort it out for next season, and it's it's not as easy as that. And you're not down until you just can't get the amount of points. I was at Bolton. I think it was 5 points adrift with 5 games to go, and we managed to take 11 points and stay up. And so sometimes you just get a catalyst. You win one game, another game goes in your favour, and all of a sudden everything changes a little bit. So
I'll ask you a question, David. Did West Brom have an opportunity at one point this season to confirm in the job a manager who might have saved them from relegation?
I think they could well have done, to be fair. I mean, his record's not too bad. Who are we on about? No, obviously, in there, I mean, he mentioned it earlier to us, the couple of games he was in charge where the commitment from the players was top draw. Unfortunately, not grabbing the results. I know you mentioned on the Facebook thing of, the points that they've give away from winning positions. Yeah. That's the be all and end all of survival.
That happened against Tottenham and Newcastle, where you produced two good performances. Do you feel that they should have given you the job till the end of the season?
No, I thought at the time, because Tony left, and I think we just played Chelsea, and then my first game's Tottenham away, and we played ever so well. And we got a point down there. On the Tuesday we played Newcastle. Again, we played well. But there was a bit of bounce about the place. There's no reflection on Tony, but there was a little bit of a bounce about the place. And I thought that what they should have done is just left it for a bit. If we'd have played the Saturday after and got beat 7-0, then I'm on my bike and then go and do whatever. But it had changed a bit. Now, if I'd have been in charge of the football club in terms of a chairman or owner, whatever it would be, I'd be looking at it and think, well, just leave that. There's no need to do anything just yet. It might have got better, it might have got worse, but there was no need to do anything. Something had just been done. Yeah. But the club made their choice. Alan actually rang me up, which was strange. I don't mean strange because he's all right.
Yeah, Alan Pardew.
Alan Pardew rang me up and he says just ringing you up, thank you what you've done in the last 10, 11 days. He says, but you've stolen me thunder a little bit, because usually when you go in as a new manager, you're picking it up from something that's gone on, and you can give it that lift, but the lift had already started. So they've made decisions, and they've made quite a few over the season that in my view are the wrong decisions.
Okay, Michael Appleton's been linked with the job. He's at Leicester, of course. I don't know if that's a goer or not, or that's just a bit of gossip.
I think there'll be a bit of gossip, but I think they'll try and link people with a affiliation to West Brom, and Michael's. I know him very well. I signed him down there, and he offered me a job at Oxford, and in the end, he's gone. to Leicester as assistant. So I think people would put 2 and 2 together, but at the moment I'm not sure what they'll do.
All right, plenty on Southampton and also both of your former teams, the Sheffield Wednesday in our Championship roundup. Just dwelling on that briefly, there wasn't a great deal of refereeing controversy over the weekend, which is a good thing. Graham Scott was in charge of that game at Bournemouth. Something unusual in that, there was a real crunching 50-50 challenge between Jake Livermore and Adam Smith that ended with both players being cautioned. That's somewhat unusual.
It's a strange one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's normally one individual's fault for the tackle. But obviously he's seen it as too reckless and out of control. I think it was the challenge, and he's seen fit to book them both. Arguably
they were. Talking about challenges, the red card of Charlie Adam. Now this was Martin Atkinson's match, Everton's 2-1 win at Stoke. I'm not even sure that anybody can have a proper view of this because it was in an absolute blizzard, wasn't it?
I must admit, I seen the incident, and I thought it was a little bit harsh for a red, to be honest.
Yeah, this was a lunge on Wayne Rooney.
Does that make it a red because it's on Wayne? I mean, we can't look at it that way. I mean, like I say, we know Charlie can put his foot in, so can Wayne. I mean, it was one of them situations,
what did
harsh
you think,
conditions, and it's a rash challenge.
And I thought it was a red card. I don't think as soon as you put your foot up that way, whether you like it or not, they're the rules nowadays. But it's,
Charlie Adam didn't stop to argue, really. He just stopped for concern for Wayne.
Too cold, wasn't it? Get off.
Get off. There wasn't a lot of diving over the weekend. I know there weren't many people going down feigning injury, were there? The conditions were ferociously cold. In that game, Everton's first goal did certainly look well offside, actually. So there was cause for complaint there. For Stoke City. Liverpool 5, Watford 0. Anthony Taylor had the pleasure there, and I've just got the 3-letter word wow beside the name of Mo Salah.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic well, and he's like, he's settled in and he started, really at a high level, but he's just getting better and better, and it's, I think he suits Liverpool and Liverpool suit him, and I think he seems to be really enjoying his football. Top class player.
They seem to gel well. Certainly the front three. Firmino and Salah. It's he's just enjoying the game.
He terrorises defenders because he's making them commit all the time, and he's running.
He's clever. He's clever. He finds good space.
Yeah, 4 goals.
Receive it, yeah.
You scored 4 goals once, more than once, maybe, I don't know.
No, just the once.
Just the once against Hull City, yeah? I was there.
The other 4 goals were over an entire season.
Probably right, yeah.
Career in my case.
Crystal Palace producing some strong performances without getting the results, but they did vitally, really, with a 2-0 win at Huddersfield. The job that Roy Hodgson's doing.
Yeah, well, he knows his stuff, obviously, with the experience that he's gained at all different levels. But I think this fact when Saha wasn't playing, they weren't getting those results. He comes back into the team and it completely changes them. So they look a decent side with him in it.
I've seen some stats yesterday about that when Salah's in and Saha's in and Saha's out. And they do need him in the side, and they have missed him. He creates opportunities, as he proved on Saturday.
Mike Dean was in charge. Just a query whether Benteke should have been awarded a penalty for a challenge against him, but there was a penalty awarded later anyway for Palace, so it didn't matter in the end. Just before we go on to VAR, which raised its head in one of the FA Cup quarter-finals, Manchester United 2, Brighton 0 in one of those quarter-finals. Jose Mourinho perhaps giving more entertainment off the field than he is on it at the moment, do you think?
Well, he seems to have created that, and I'm sure he doesn't want it, but all the focus seems to be on Jose now as opposed to Manchester United.
Is that deliberate?
No, I think it just goes with the territory, because I think when he was at Milan it was the same, Madrid it was the same. It just seems to be how he is. He's a big personality. And everybody hangs on every word that he says. So it's
gets criticised, but it's entertaining, isn't it?
It is, and to be fair, how can you criticise a fellow who's got a career like he has?
Exactly right.
It does know a little bit about the game, I must admit.
Right. I read a comment over the weekend that he was deluded. Well, I think every manager would like to be as deluded.
I've seen your article about that, actually, yeah.
I mean, I mentioned that on Twitter,
Yeah, I've seen that, and like you said, and rightly so, every manager would love to be deluded if that's the case.
Indeed, absolutely. VAR, where do we stand on this? In this case, I mean, nothing was wrong, things were right. Swansea 0, Spurs 3. Spurs had an emphatic victory, and this incident in the fullness of time didn't matter anyway. But Son netted off the crossbar, goal disallowed, an assistant referee instantly flagged for offside, and then VAR was called in just to confirm, which it did. There was then a 2-minute delay. I think that's all we were actually complaining about, is it?
Well, it is, but it's like, it's new to football. It's not new to rugby, and it's not new to cricket. And in those two sports, for want of a better word, it's more exciting. You can see what's going on, you can hear what's going on, and there's that will it, won't it, whatever. In football, it just looks a complete mess at the moment. But why they can't look at them two sports, see what they're doing, and copy it with the interest in football, be even better.
And then
that's a great thing of when we've spoke about it before we used it, about having the screens at the grounds, which that limits where it can go. Because not everybody's got the big screens, only the bigger Premiership sides at the moment. But yeah, I agree with Gary. If the fans can see what they're all doing behind the scenes to get the decision right, then it adds that bit of interest, and that 2 minutes flies by. And
it's only the television viewers that get to see these pretty vague lines across the pitch, and again, it seems indeterminate.
But everybody else can see it.
Yeah.
Apart from the people who are actually there, so they're just twiddling their thumbs, waiting to see what everybody else already knows. And it just seems crazy that all the other sports, and the ones in America, they know what's going on and they're involved in it. Therefore, it makes it better, and hopefully we'll come round to that.
If there's 2 incidents per half, then I can go put the kettle on, come back, then for the second incident I can make the tea. That's how it's getting.
Yeah, we only want 1 or 2 in a game, if any, and preferably none at all. At least the assistant had the courage to make a very tight decision with that flag. You wonder with a VAR game whether they might be cowed into not giving a decision at all in some cases for fear of being proved wrong. I think also, though, when something's as tight as that, offside, you'd rather it be a goal than not, wouldn't you?
Well, I thought it was supposed to go in advantage for the centre forward, the strikers, or the attacking team.
I think that's been the advice to officials, even if it's not in the laws. Kevin Friend was in charge of that, came through fine, as did Andre Mariner at Old Trafford. As we move on to the televised Sunday games in the FA Cup, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I watched both of them. I thought it were 2 really good games. Let's start with Wigan and Southampton, where Michael Oliver was in charge. 2-0 victory for Southampton. You played there at the end of your career.
I mean, a good game. Southampton played well. To be fair, I thought Wigan put a good show up as well. Yeah. But Southampton have been having a tough time, and it's a little get-out clause for them.
Yeah,
I think it was important as well. The way the game went, Hirsty's just said then, Wigan were way on top first half. Yeah. Mark's not had time to see him, to work with him, to do anything. But I would put money on his half-time stuff that had a real impact, because they looked entirely different. And I think Mark will have got into them, and now they've got through an FA Cup tie. It's great for them, but I think more than that, the players have seen what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah. So that played into Mark Hughes' hands in a way, that first half performance. He could make an impact.
It didn't, because you can't start having a go at people if they haven't done anything wrong, but they were just so lackadaisical in the first half. Second half, entirely different. So now they know what's expected, they know what they should be doing, and they should be okay from now on.
Yeah, Wigan should have profited in the first half, really, shouldn't they?
They should,
yeah. FA Cup tip, actually, from referees that I speak to. They think that Michael Oliver's in with a really good shout of refereeing the FA Cup final. He's certainly a very informed referee, and probably emerging as the top one.
Guys. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I mean, throughout the season, he's been up there amongst the elite. So, yeah, we always say in finals, we want the best referees refereeing.
Yeah, could well be him. Craig Pawson's already had the EFL Cup final, and he was in charge of Chelsea's 2-1 win at Leicester. Another pretty close tie and a good game, I thought, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some good FA Cup ties, but it's just strange seeing the FA Cup now to how it used to be 20 years ago, because I had a chairman who was, was telling me about the Cup and also the Premier League, and he says, if we win the FA Cup, we'll make about £1 million. Obviously, you got the prestige. If we stay in the Premiership, it's 170 million. So it's completely changed everything now for the Cup compared to the Premier League.
It has. Although when you get to this stage of the competition, it starts to be deadly serious.
I think whatever you're in it, you want to be out there to win it. To be fair.
Yeah, indeed.
But we all know that the Premiership is the
Didn't Brighton rest Murray?
You could well be right there.
Yeah, I think they arrested him for the Premier League. He's
a big player.
He's got more goals than everybody else. I think he's got 13 goals, and you have to do it unless you're one of these big teams like City, like Manchester United, whatever, where you've got a squad that can put out one team that's brilliant, one team that's very, very good. If you're in charge of a normal Premiership side, you have to
balance it,
get everything right.
Yeah, right. Championship, some big games all over. I saw Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest, a bit disappointed really in the end, a goalless draw. Paul Tierney was in charge. I thought an excellent performance from a very good referee there. Difficult for referees with all the blizzards that were taking place. There were lurid line markings in red, not blue, red as you'd expect at Bramall Lane. They refused to have blue.
I know.
I know, it's a total mystery. And play was briefly stopped for the lines to be swept there. Sheffield Wednesday, I know you'll both be delighted with that, much needed victory in a derby against Leeds United by 2-1. Yeah.
It's a good result, and certainly a needed result. But Wednesday, I don't think they were ever in danger of going down. I certainly don't now. Mm-hmm. But Wednesday have got to have a complete, overhaul of what they're trying to do and how they're trying to go about it. Because at the moment they're just coasting.
Shake up in the summer needed.
You would have thought so, because obviously this season's not been the best. Like Gary says, I think they're safe in the league now, but they've got to push forward. They've got to have change of personnel without a doubt.
Yeah, carrying a lot of players.
Well, they are, but they've got to come up with something of where do we want to go? How are we going to get there? How are we going to do it? And it just seems at the moment sack this manager, sack that manager, sign this player, sign that player. Right. And there's too many people making too many, in my view, poor decisions. And it's just got to get somebody strong in charge of the football club, say, right, this is what we want to do, how are we going to do it? But there seems to be a lot of other individuals on the periphery who are having too much of a say on the club.
I mean, they have had a massive number of injuries.
They certainly have.
Which comes after the change of the physio staff. I think at the time they weren't happy with the injuries that we're getting. Then they've changed all the staff and got even more injuries. I don't know how coincidental that is.
Yeah, there was no need to change the physio staff because I think it was the same one I worked with, and it was good.
Yeah,
right.
And they were all. I'm not saying they're not now, but they were all wanting the best for Wednesday. So they were good physios, and you can't always look at it and say, we've got loads of injuries. Because sometimes you look and you think, well, is everybody absolutely busting a gut to get back?
Josh Luhukay is in charge now. Lukai, I should pronounce it correctly. Your view, he's not really had an opportunity yet, really, to show what he can do. Can't be judged yet, surely. This was a big win for him.
Unfortunately, you get judged on results.
Yeah.
And that's the be all and end all. You can be the nicest guy in the world, but if you're not winning games, people start to look at your situation.
He's getting players back. Hutchinson and Bannon were both involved and came back, big players.
Which is good.
2 wins in 12 now, going perhaps in the right direction. Ati Nuhu, I know you've always raved about his qualities as a player, but seriously, wholehearted, lion-hearted, or
without
what?
Without a doubt. I mean, and pops up with what I thought were 2 great goals on Saturday. The little poacher's finish for a 6'6". In the box, being alive, sticks it away, and the way he muscled the centre half off the ball for the second goal, and a nice, calm, cool finish. Hey, well done.
All credit to him, yeah. Keith Stroud was the referee in charge of that, and because it's just a passing reference, it means there was nothing of any controversy there whatsoever. Simon Hooper had Brentford 1, Middlesbrough 1. There was a sending off for 2 yellows there. Roman Sawyer's second yellow late on. The Brentford player Dean Smith felt that the referee there, Hooper, was influenced by Borough players surrounding him. You just don't want players surrounding referees in those circumstances, whether it's right or wrong. And just finally, a word about Sunderland. Darren Bond, incidentally, presided over their latest defeat, 2-0 at home to Preston, where Jake Clark-Salter was sent off for 2 yellows, 6 red cards under Chris Coleman, and yet the feeling is they're just not competing enough on the field.
It goes hand in hand. When you're struggling and things are going wrong, you have a look how many bookings you get, how many injuries you get, how many red cards you get. The focus,
Leeds United.
The focus becomes on the wrong thing. They're not just playing football, trying to do well and score goals and keep them out the other end. They do stupid things because they're not focused on what they should be doing.
Bad decision making.
Yeah. There's quite a funny one on Sky. Went over to the guy who was reporting on Saturday And he said to Jeff, thanks for coming over to me because I've nobody else to talk to. They all left the ground.
They'd all left the ground.
All the fans had left the ground. He said, thanks for coming. I've had nobody to talk to for the last 10 minutes.
That's a great line to finish with. I've had no referees to talk to. But it's been enjoyable anyway. David, thanks very much. Gary, thanks very much. And to you for watching. See you for another Ref Show next week. See you.